Okay, this is a 1987 Toyota 4Runner 22RE, and I was having terrible idle problems for like 6 months. My idle was anywhere up to 3,000 down to 250, almost stalling. So it seems to be a common problem. I'm going to do a quick video of all the things that I checked and tested. I'm not going to do those checks and tests because this would be way too long of a video, but you can find most of this information on Yoda Tech on how to do these things, or just search on YouTube. So start at the beginning, your airflow meter. It's got a electrical connector back here. You can test with your own meter, make sure you got the proper resistance. And then you can actually take this off, remove it from the truck, cut this, and this is what I did. You cut this carefully with an X-Acto knife, take it off, clean your sensor inside. There's a little like wiper arm thing that corresponds to the movement of your airflow door, so that your ECU can sense, how open that is, how much air is coming through. You just clean all that out, test your resistance, put it back on with, and seal it down with some silicone or black, I can't remember what I used. Then you're going to check your boots, make sure your connections are tight, you don't have any cracks or air leaks there. Same thing here. Of course, the infamous throttle position sensor, that's the bane of our existence with these vehicles. You're going to test that. There's extensive write-ups online for how to properly test that. You want to just, of course, check with a fine-tooth comb absolutely every single vacuum hose there is, even if you don't think it has anything to do with your intake, even if it's just the brake booster, any vacuum lines, they have to be checked. And of course, you're also going to check your, if worse comes to worse and you have to do it, check your intake. You might need a new gasket down there, your intake manifold. So I have done the EGR delete, and that took off a good bit of vacuum hoses. I still have the AC and power steering idle up, and the brake booster. I'm probably going to get rid of the AC and power steering at some point. But a lot of my vacuum hoses are missing, but just make sure you go over yours with a fine-tooth comb. The next thing is, what did I do next? Oh, the IACV, which is normally in this area. I did do a video about how to troubleshoot that if you think yours isn't working right. What I end up doing is deleting it entirely. Yes, you can do it. It works like a charm. I have a video on that too, but you're gonna check all your connections for that. You'll want to, if none of these things work, take off your throttle body. Make sure you order the gasket before you do it, so when you're done you can just put it back on and get your vehicle up and running. But you're going to want to check your butterfly, make sure that's opening and closing good, make sure it's not scrubbing against the inside of the bore or getting hung up. Make sure your little bushings and stuff are nice and tight and that it's not wobbling around or loose. You can check your throttle linkage, make sure it's nice and snappy and comes back good how it's supposed to. There is an adjustment screw right there. There's directions for how to adjust that in the factory service manual. This dash pot, if you have a manual transmission, what this does is kind of a soft landing for the throttle when you let off the accelerator, and it goes up and down, and it just kind of give it an extra second to let air whoosh through. If the spring is seized upward and your linkage comes to rest on it and it's up too high, your throttle plate won't close all the way and you'll be getting air rushing through there, causing a high idle. Another thing to check is, let me see if I can find them. There's temperature switch 1, temperature switch 2 is what they're called in the book, I think. Test those. There's a hot test and a cold test. You don't have to take them off. It says drain the coolant and take them off. Don't do that. Just test it when they're cold, then reconnect them, run the engine till it's hot, and test them again. And then you can also check your coolant lines. Make sure there's no air bubbles in there that are circulating, causing idle surges. Park it up on an incline. Squeeze all your hoses, tap on it with a rubber mallet, try to get any bubbles up to the surface, and then pop this open, squeeze your hoses again, try to get it to bubble up, then just top it off, fill your reservoir if you need to. And oh, idle adjustment screw. There's an O-ring in here that if that's shot, it's going to cause air leaks. If it's backed in too tight, it's not going to be enough air. You'll have a low idle. If it's out too far, you're going to have too much air. You'll have an idle, a high idle. I just replaced mine entirely, and it seems like it's working good. So I did all the things listed in this video, and my idle has been stable at a nice cool 750 for at least the last week, probably 4 or 5 times of driving it. So that's what I did, and hopefully you guys can try to use some of this information and figure it out for yourselves. So good luck.